We'll begin with by calling the roll. Everyone is present here at City Hall except for Councilwoman Monica Peters and Councilman Vic Jones. Councilwoman Peters, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Jones, are you with us remotely?
What page is Sheila that?
Councilman Jones, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. So all 9 members of council are present. We will begin the meeting by asking everyone to rise for a moment of silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Frank is connecting in. I see Vic, Monica.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States.
What is Robbie Stone doing on the, why is he on? Under Terry?
All right. We will begin. First item on our agenda is our strategic plan update. For that, I'll start first with Councilman Chris Williams for an update on our blight reduction efforts.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go over a few bits and then I'll turn it over to the city staff. First, the staff recorded 35 zoning complaints, a total of 58 public nuisance cases, 20 abated by the city and 38 abated by the owner. And due to the pandemic, the staff did not work on a Saturday this month. There are 3 properties with contracts out for demolition, and there are 2 housing cases with ordinance passed for demolition waiting for repairs to be completed. That's at 337 Wingo and 216 Underhill. There are 4 housing cases waiting for demolition bids to be submitted, and there are 3 properties with ordinance passed in the appeal process. And then finally, during this reporting period, there were 488 total active cases. That is 247 active minimum housing cases, 93 active public nuisance cases, and 148 active zoning cases. And on that note, I will turn it over to Lori Loosemore with staff.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. This last month, I figured I took up too much time, so this month I figured I would try and keep it short. Just a reminder of some of the things that we do. Part of what we do is we board up properties, residential and commercial, if it's unsecured. So here's just a picture of a property that's unsecured. We posted it to give the owner an opportunity to secure it. They did not do it. And then we document it if they don't do it, which is what this is, just to show the windows and the doors that are open on it. And then we assign it to a contractor for them to go out and board it up. And typically we only board up what is already unsecured. We don't go, I don't think we go overboard and board up every single window or door or anything. So just to keep people out as best we can. So.
Lori, I got one question. And I know this is probably not under circumstances like this, but certain areas where I guess, I don't think this probably even be a problem now with the market being the way it is. There was something that we talked about at one of the conventions where they would actually black out boards and then bolt them in the interior of the windows. That way you don't get like kind of that effect. Is it too costly to do that, or do we?
It was rather expensive. Okay. A couple of Durham, I think, and what it was is like a clear plexiglass, and that would be used instead of the board. And it was rather expensive. And then to install, because they would have these, you buy the plywood and then they're cut to fit the size. So the purchasing, one city like purchased it in bulk and then kept it. And then it would be cut up specific, and then you'd have to have somebody to do it. It was a little bit cumbersome, but we did visit that at one time. Okay,
thank you. I kind of wanted to bring that up because the question was asked from a couple of people in some neighborhoods that had some houses that were boarded up for some time. But thank you. That's all I have on that.
And just for future reference, too, if you have somebody who asks about that, you can let us know. We may have a case on it, and it's just boarded up waiting if it's a demolition case. And then sometimes we'll answer as to if we have a case on it or not.
Okay.
Maybe if it's just a house that gets to sit there, if it doesn't reach the demolition status.
Thank you, Lori. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Williams, I appreciate that. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the public comment period. Madam Clerk, have there been any public comments received?
We had one from Glenn Chavis, but other than that, no.
Okay, but it's in our
Yes.
Granicus
Have it in
program.
our App, yes.
Okay. If anyone would like, the High Point City Council still receives public comment at the first meeting of each month. Due to COVID, we're not having full public meetings. So if you would like to submit a public comment, you can do that in one of three ways. One is by calling 336-883-3522 and leaving a voice message. You can email your written comments to publiccomment@highpointnc.gov, or you can drop off written comments at either of the two utility both the north and south side of City Hall downtown. All right. First on the agenda, I'm gonna mention something before we begin because I think it's better to mention it at the beginning of the meeting when there may be more people listening. Beginning on March 10th, the FEMA is going to be operating a mass vaccination site at Four Seasons Town Center in Greensboro. It begins on March the 10th. That happens to be the same day that I think we're moving into the next phase of groups to be able to be vaccinated. This center is going to be able to accommodate up to 3,000 vaccinations per day. And it's all going to be done by appointment. So if you want to get your COVID shot beginning on March the 10th, you can visit a website, which is yourspotyourshot.nc.gov for accurate information about the shots. And I'm certain that will give you some sort of a link to be able to schedule going and getting vaccinated. Also, I'm sure this is going to get a lot of press over the next 9 days. Be on the lookout for more information about this upcoming site. This is in addition to all of the current places you can go. Walgreens is doing shots, and the county health department still has multiple locations for people to go and get vaccinated. But this is a mass vaccination site, and we've been chosen by the White House as one of those mass vaccination sites. The shots are going to be administered through the Department of Defense. They'll be the ones staffing this, but please be on the lookout if you want to go and get a vaccine beginning on the 10th. That is going to be an additional location. They are going to offer either walk-ins or drive-through vaccinations at that site as well, and up to 3,000 per day. It's going to be open 7 days a week. So, and the information I've received is that site is going to be open for a minimum of 8 weeks. So that's really a great opportunity if you live in this area to go and get vaccinated. All right. Next on the agenda, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Councilman Britt Moore for the Finance Committee agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's finance agenda is set for a consent agenda. There's only 3 items. They were all 3 contracts or either a change order to a contract. Finance is recommending this consent agenda with favorable recommendation for approval.
Okay, there's motion for approval of the consent items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hudson. Is there any comment on the finance items? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Councilman Holmes, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peters?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Aye.
Councilman Williams?
Aye.
Councilman Hudson?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Jefferson?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. So those items are approved by a vote of 9-0.
That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Right. There are no P&L items. There are no planning and development items. No, there is one planning and development item. I'm almost about to gloss over it. There's one item that is impending. The attorney has
I'm sorry,
requested
I
me to
believe
stop
you're
talking.
skipping
Yes.
a regular agenda item for the sale of the Little Tree property.
Oh, that was on,
Mhm.
that's back under finance. It's a regular,
It is, yes, it was not on the consent agenda
okay.
for finance.
Councilman Moore, you got one more thing.
Oh, I did. Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Let's go back and look at item 2021-82, sale of city property. It's 2305 and 2307 Little Avenue.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hi. City Council is requested to adopt a resolution accepting an offer for $11,000 and authorize the sale of properties located at 2305 Little Avenue and 2307 Little Avenue through the upset bid procedure. Sterling Real Estate Development of North Carolina has offered the $11,000. The properties were acquired by the city for future housing development. Any questions?
Any comments or questions on this item? Thank you. Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve item 2021-82, sale of property at 2305 and 2307 Little Avenue.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Johnson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Councilman Holmes, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peters?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Aye.
Councilman Williams?
Aye.
Councilman Hudson?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Jefferson?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. So that item is approved by a vote of 9-0.
Well, I think I'm finished, Mayor. Isn't that
All
right?
right.
Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir.
I'm done.
So there is, we'll now go to the planning and development portion of the agenda. There is one item that's in pending. This is the zoning map amendment, case 20-20. I'll make a motion to bring this out of pending. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Holmes. Is there anyone who objects to taking this out of pending? Hearing none, this is now out of pending, and I will turn this meeting over to Herb Shannon of the Planning Department.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Herb Shannon, Senior Planner with the Planning Development Department. Regarding zoning map amendment 20-20, this is a request to rezone a 3.6 acre parcel at the intersection of East Chester Drive and Cypress Court from the conditional use office, institutional, and residential single-family 3. The applicant was requesting rezoning to conditional zoning general business district. You reviewed this at your February 15th public hearing. At that meeting, the applicant offered to amend their conditional zoning ordinance, and it was required to be submitted in writing. You now have that amended ordinance in which they have offered to delete convenience store fuel cells as a use option, and they've also offered a condition that automotive and diesel fuel storage tanks be prohibited. So that's all staff has, unless you have any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay, thank you, Mr. Shannon. I just have one procedural question. I was under the impression that we had closed the public hearing at the last meeting and that we would be able to take action on this tonight.
I was under the impression that you would be able to take action on this tonight.
Okay,
It will require a supermajority.
yes. I just wanted to make that clear that we wouldn't have to do it at a recess meeting on Wednesday because that's what my notes were. All right. Okay, so as the city attorney has said, any motion to approve this item would have to be approved by a vote, a 2/3 majority of council, so 6 of 9 votes, due to the rejection of this, or because this did not receive a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board. So with that, I'll open the floor to any discussion or a motion. Why don't we start with a motion, then we'll have discussion. Anyone have a motion regarding this matter? Okay, well, I'll start then by, just to get us going, I will make a motion to approve zoning map amendment 20-20. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Jefferson. Okay, any discussion? Discuss.
I'd like to ask Councilman Holmes, since it's in his ward, about any feedback other than what we received on public comment.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. I was heading that direction. This has been overwhelmingly rejected by most of the constituents that I've heard from. I've had a chance to speak with them on the phone, go over their emails. I've had a chance to actually visit with them in the areas. So this change in zoning is not something that that the public is ready for. That being said, there is always an opportunity. I know that those who requested the zoning are here, and in the interest of fairness, if they have some points that they would like to make on it, but this has not been well received by my constituents in Ward 6, and there's been uniform opposition to this.
Thank you, Councilman Holmes. I did receive a couple of comments today by email. I'm not sure if any of the rest of you received them or not. One was from I forget which homeowners association, but I think it was the one right there at the entrance. And also from another gentleman who lives in the area. And of course, both of those were negative, but I haven't had any response or any contact with the developer in the last 2 weeks. So, anyone else have anything to say before we vote?
This is Judy Stalder.
Ms. Stalder, the public hearing has been closed, so I don't know that we're taking any comment from anybody else. Unless there's an objection. Do anyone on the council have an objection to Ms. Stalder addressing this? Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Stalder.
Judy Stalder, 1012 Wellington Street in High Point. I was just responding to Council Member Holmes' comment that if the applicant wanted to address any of the neighbors' concerns. And really, I just wanted to remind council that we did try to address the neighbor's primary concern of the convenience store with gas pumps and remove that from the request, as well as provide a 100-foot wide undisturbed buffer between what would be perceived as the business corridor of NC 68 and where the neighborhoods begin.
Thank you, Ms. Stalder.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Again, the motion is for approval of the item and must pass by a vote of 6-3 to be approved. Councilman Holmes, how do you vote?
No.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peters?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Aye.
Councilman Williams?
No.
Councilman Hudson?
No.
Councilman Jones?
No.
Councilman Jefferson? The mayor votes aye. The ayes are 5 and the noes are 4. So that item does not pass. All right. Next on the agenda is just our general business, which tonight is only approval of some minutes. Anyone have any changes to the minutes? If not, I will make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hudson. Okay. Any discussion on the minutes? Councilman Holmes, how do you vote on the minutes?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Peters.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
Aye.
Councilman Williams.
Aye.
Councilman Hudson.
Aye.
Councilman Jones.
Aye.
Councilman Jefferson.
Aye.
And mayor votes aye, so the minutes are approved. Anybody have anything to announce prior to adjourning?
It's Women's History Month, so go women.
All right. Okay. Again, keep your ear to the ground about the new vaccinations clinic opening on March the 10th. Your shot, was it your spot, your shot.nc.gov is where you go for information on that. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilman Jefferson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Williams. Anyone opposed to adjourning the meeting? Okay, hearing none, the meeting is now